I mean, I think that some of that, you know, it's kind of weird. Um, like how our perception of other people kind of changes over time and being an adult and versus being a kid. And this certainly doesn't exclude like church either, because I mean, it's still got like a whole social structure to it. But I'm like, you mentioned people being a little bit older. And if there's one thing I've realized from getting to the phase of my life where, I'm building like on my assets, like I'm building on my relationships with people who I know really matter to me. My mom always said usually like the people who are the five people who are closest to you like are going to be the ones you're really invested in. And after that, as an adult, you just aren't really going to have the time or emotional capacity to really care the same way about other people. And it sounds really bad, but it's something I've really come to embrace. It's kind of like, you know you get to the point where as an adult there's a lot of like little social things that you just kind of care less about. Like being so worried about, oh, did I say something that was so horribly embarrassing I'm going to remember it for the rest of my life? No, those moments happen a lot more whenever you're, in school or you're a teenager. You're like, oh yeah, that was so embarrassing. I can't believe I said that. But as you get older, it's just like you don't have time or resources a lot to care about that. And I think that, I mean, I don't know your specific situation or if people, are all just gossiping about you behind your back at your church group or not. But it's one of those things that I think that it's like if you're staying with a certain group of people, whether that be a church or other social circle, you know, are there at least, some people in there that you really enjoy spending time with? And, if it's all just because you don't want to feel left out and you're not really particularly that connected to any one of them, then like, it's one of those things that at least I've learned is like no one's gonna be too bothered if you just kind of dip and try something new. Um, I know for my experiences with so one of my favorite things for my semester and a half at UAB that I love the most, and I'm sure you remember it, uh, was the CS lab. Um, I'm pretty sure you went there a lot too. Because like everybody was collaborating on assignments and like, even though we weren't all necessarily like buddy close friends, there was a spirit of camaraderie and like we were all working together. And I ended up like being an ad hoc tutor for some of the stuff with the formal languages and automata class just because it was so interesting and exciting to me. And I felt like the people there were interested in all helping each other because, you had that class, right? With Dr. Johnstone.
Yep.
Yeah. He had those really terse homework assignments that weren't that long, but if you got one thing wrong, you would basically fail. So everybody was trying really hard to check and double check each other's homework and make sure we all got, the right answers the first time, because that's just what kind of, teacher he was. And a lot of people hated him for it. Honestly, that was probably my favorite class I took at UAB. But, I didn't have that at UA. At UA, you were looked at kind of like as if I don't want to say it in these exact words, but to sound a little bit, you know, um, archaic, you kind of were looked down upon like you were like weak if you asked for help at UA, because everybody was like had this mentality that, oh, look, I'm the star-studded engineer at, this engineering sort of engineering. It's weird because computer science is considered engineering at UA, but at UAB it was considered parts of arts and sciences. Um, I don't really know how they came to a different conclusion, but so there wasn't really much working together. And like if somebody said that they got something working for like an assignment or something at UA, they would brag about it. and they'd be like, okay, well, I don't know what you're gonna do. It was very difficult, and it kind of had that mentality of like, you know, I'm better than you kind of thing. And well, I got this, so I'm gonna hoard my answer, and I'm not gonna work together with anyone else because, you know, that just wasn't the kind of mentality there. So, in that sense, in a social sense, as well as, academic, I mean, trying UAB was very much something that, I had to separate myself. I had to be a completely different school for a whole semester. And it was like, wow, that really did make a difference. This one environment I could really flourish in. And gosh, I chose the wrong college. But, you know, in the end, it's all just a means to an end. I got my degree and I got a job. So whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Like, and even kind of what you said at the beginning about that there's like five people that come that are in your life that you want to like really invest in and like really get to know. And I mean that does stand true that like I mean you can't emotionally invest in every single person's life and get to know everybody at every little detail about them. So, I mean, that definitely is a very true thing. Like, once I started thinking about that, and maybe even these people's intentions is not even to say, listen, this is even a good conversation right here, because even as I was answering the question, I even just was, started spewing insecurity out. And let's just even kind of talking about it now just makes me feel a little bit more okay with the fact that like not everybody has to talk to me that walks right past me like and I mean because I think another thing that I struggle with like as far as uh you know getting to know somebody is very much an introvert, which is kind of why I wanted to do a podcast because I kind of wanted to get myself out of my comfort zone and to get into like talking to more people, whether it's people I've known for years or people that I, am friends with on Facebook, but like, don't really know well, or even people from school that I didn't really get to know back in the school days, but like I'm getting to know now. So, I just feel like maybe feeling a little bit more okay with the fact that like not everybody has to talk to me because I mean we're some people want to connect based off the stage of life that they're in currently. Like I know I guess with me, still in my 20s, single, whereas an older person may want to talk to somebody that let's just say he's married and has grandkids. Like maybe he wants to talk to another set of grandparents or something like that. So I guess it all depends on the walk of life, stuff like that. There's even older people in there that are really nice and friendly to me. So just even talking about that, nice, it definitely is makes me feel a little bit more okay with the fact as far as my feeling like I'm wanted or anything like that. Because I know insecurity can be it can lead to like, if I start getting too invested in that insecurity that probably isn't even it's probably there for just because it's in my head that I feel like no one wants me there. It almost leads to it could even lead to like my mental health. Like if I start really starting to think about like oh nobody wants me, and then it will kind of lead me to to low self esteem and stuff like that. So I just gotta start kind of doing a self reflection regarding all of these kind of insecurities that I have because some of it just may be just in my head and it may not be a reality that these people don't want to be around me or talk to me.
Yep.
So I guess I'm actually going to get to our last question of this episode. And this question could come with a few different answers. So I'm definitely curious to hear what both of y'all have regarding this. So, what advice would you give to someone that is feeling insecure?
Well, um, I guess I would tell them kind of what I tell myself. Like, it's okay to feel insecure at times. Like it's normal, it's okay. you just can't dwell on it. Like you can't keep thinking about it and keep thinking about it. And I know I also tell myself like it's, that we're doing things at our own pace and that's okay. Like we do things differently. And yeah, just things like that, really. And that we're good the way we are. So
Yeah, I need to do a little bit more of that. I need to do a little bit more pep talking with myself, and even if I have to get myself to look at myself in the mirror and remind myself of these good things about myself, that that it's okay. Like I wish I would have done that back in my college days. I wish I would have told myself, this isn't a race. Like you don't have to finish. At 21 years old and graduate. Like it's okay if you graduate at 25, which is when I did graduate. So it's I wish I would have had a little bit more. If I was a little bit more of a motivator to myself, because I definitely needed it back then, and I still even now need it. But I wish especially then I would have given myself a talk and that tell myself that it's okay, that sometimes it's okay to not be okay, because it just goes to show that we're human. We're all human. We all have flaws. We all have times where we're going to go through some bad times, whether it's about ourselves or another situation. But like you said, like not dwelling in that is super important.